Good day, I'm Nisa Mudley. You're watching Asset TV here at the GEPF Annual Thought Leadership Conference 2023. With me is Dondo Mogajane, Chairperson of the GEPF. Welcome, Dondo.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for having me on your show. Thank you.
So, can you tell us, you've made a big announcement today about the GEPF transformation policy. Can you tell us a bit more about
Look,
that?
it's important. Our own South African story has to be told. We've got our own challenges, ranging from socio-economic challenges, ranging from poverty challenges that we have, underdevelopment in many areas. And look, ask yourself, Lisa, who are the GPF members? The GPF members, who owns the 2.7 trillion, is the same people who are affected by some of these challenges. So our transformation policy is broad. I mean, we're talking about industry level transformation, which I think we cannot not talk about it. We have to talk economic transformation. We have to talk about directly socio-economic transformation that impacts on the lives of people. There could be members, there could be South Africans, but obviously South Africans. And of course, we've got the challenge now of just energy transition. So these are the four pillars that underpin the transformation policy framework. But underlying that is also then our investee companies. We invest money. Where do they invest the money? They must focus on these issues. They must focus on balancing the need to grow the fund and also balancing that with ensuring that we address these challenges that I've outlined. Because without doing that, South Africa's situation will remain. Black people will remain underdeveloped. And second, we came up with something very interesting. We talked about manager development strategy. We've got an existing one, but we're saying, hey, let the asset manager environment change, man. You cannot have a situation where black asset managers are not empowered further. And I brought a concept of transformed managers. By legislation many years ago, we know your big guys like your Old Mutuals and your Sanlam, it was through legislation that they were empowered many decades ago. So I think the reality of our situation now, we've got emerging asset managers. How do we support? How do we give them allocation that makes sense? Because we also think we are also by that doing changing the transformation landscape that I was talking about. The final thing that we talk about is the development investment policy. That should focus on how do we develop South Africa, in which areas. We specifically mentioned 3 areas. We said, look, housing is important for our members, of course. And that can translate into the broader public. But at least for our members, decent housing opportunities. We also talked about education. How do you participate in those social programs that build schools? And we can partner with government, that's what I said, including health. How do you make meaningful interventions in these 3 broad areas of housing, education, and health, to partner with government to ensure that we address the challenges that South Africa has? Because we also think with these challenges, we can make meaningful inroads. And it's high time that a fund as strong as ours should play in that space. Last year on Asset TV, I said, and you can check that out, I said, hey, excuse me, if none of you are going to be with us on this transformation drive, you'll have to fall off the GPF bus. That's what I said. I mean, it was, at the time, I was just making some political statements because we had not at the time had a conversation, deep conversation with the GPF. But a year later, that's why we were launching this transformation policy. We've internalized the broad parameters of things that I said last year. And I'm happy to say I'm getting positive vibes in this conference. That says we are on the right track. We're not going to displace existing managers or old managers or transform managers, but it's important that there's realization that this environment must change and for the betterment of everyone.
So, can we dig a little deeper into what are the requirements for that developing manager program?
Look, I think for me, it's look, if you think about what happened some 30 years ago, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you had guys who started, let me say black players, for instance, who started working for these empowered companies. With experience, they were managing programs on behalf of these. And they formed their own small little companies or small little asset management companies. But then you say they are not good enough. No, it can't be. So I think for me, experience will count. They'll go through an incubation program of some kind where obviously partnerships are going to be important, learning skills, ensuring that they can manage this. And we say they must also graduate out of this. They cannot be in that space forever. They will have to graduate and let the cycle goes on. So for me, I think, the will is going to be, is there. We cannot question it. And most of them are here. We have to identify them, vigorously look for them, and we have to make allocations available. And the PIC is going to be instrumental in this, by the way. And the PIC, obviously, the party commission outlined the challenge that they have. And I'm happy to say that they are moving through those challenges. We are going to rely on them to really, take through some of these asset managers and black asset managers in particular through that program that really empowers them. So for me, I think we're on the right track and we should be supported by the industry as a whole.
Great. Thanks for having us, Dondo, and thanks for your insights
Thank you
this
very
morning.
much.
Enjoy
Thanks
the
for
rest of
having
the
me, Lisa.
conference.
Thank you very much. Thanks.